Hello and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament. Our first match today is a recommendation by Microwave, which is Crazio Protoss versus Microwave. Crazio Protoss is known for its cannon rush into Dark Templar, into carrier strategy, and let's see if it's something that it will do. While Microwave, a fork of Streamhammer, is a Zerg bot who is constantly worked upon and steadily advancing in the ladder. First scouting overlord from Microwave is already out and we see the forge, but this time we get the defensive cannons instead of offensive ones. Maybe Crazio just realized that versus Zerg the cannon rush is not that great of an idea, or maybe Crazio just updated his bot with new strategies. I can't know that for sure. And will we see a quick rush here for Microwave? Yes, we do. The first 6 Zerglings are out, 2 of them spawned from the natural, and they encounter 1 Zealot, which surely will not stop them. But these 2 or 3 cannons just might, and another Zealot just came out to take his buddy's place. Rest in peace, Bob. And yeah, still not getting much done versus this many Zerglings, which is 18, but not all of them are here. And it seems that Crazio is under a lot of pressure, but this base is not lost yet. The cannons are still standing, 2 Zealots are still out, although they might be better off fighting in the cover of the cannons. And 1 cannon is down. 2 cannons are down. Zealots not really working in tandem with the cannons, and the 3rd cannon is down, and Crazio now is very much threatened. Oh no, the last cannon is down, drones coming out of the line, but in the meantime a Corsair is snuck out, or maybe 2 of them, yes, 2 of them already, and they are still producing new Corsairs. Forge is down, so no defensive cannons for Crazio, but the Zerglings retreat for some unknown reason. Maybe the drones could take them, but I would advise dear Zerglings that you should kill as many drones as you possibly can. 3 Corsairs are out, and Microwave has a grand total of 5 Zerglings, which is not enough to defeat these 2 Zealots and the drones. So Microwave kind of missed his chance here, and the cannons are getting rebuilt almost in the exact same places, if I'm not very much mistaken. Oh no, this is a pylon actually. It is interesting, but anyway, the early Zergling attack, while succeeded in putting some serious pressure in Crazio, did not destroy the main base, so that might be a disadvantage, because economy-wise it seems to me that Crazio is a little bit more ahead. First Dark Templar is out, and since there is no detection here for Microwave, they have free roam for these poor Zerg units. And in the meantime, the Corsairs, well, killing on an Overlord, even though there is Spore Colony cover. Dear Overlord, why did you leave the safety of the Spore Colony? You should not have done that. And Microwave even takes care for every base to have a Spore Colony, which is very nice and an effective deterrent for these early skirmishing Corsairs, although they are not quite effective if the Overlords just wander out of range. And basically the Overlord is the only unit that is threatened by these Corsairs, so at this point these Spore Colonies are utterly useless. Sorry, Spore Colonies, for hurting your feelings. I don't know, Zerg units are biological as well as buildings, so presumably they have feelings. I don't know if that's accurate, and I'm not a lore expert. Getting back to the game, it seems that Microwave is getting Zerg, Spitty Boy army, which is Hydralisk. I just didn't remember the name. So Hydralisk army, and the Hydralisk count is rising, and in the meantime Crazio is beginning to make some carriers. And yes, the first carriers is almost out. Let's see what Microwave answer will be for that. And yeah, the Zerg. Why am I trying to say Zergling when these are very clearly Hydralisks? So Hydralisk army is roaming the base, well, the base too, but I meant to say map, and the natural is besieged, 2 cannons are down, this gateway is not long for this world, and they don't try to take down the natural, rather try to sneak into the main base and take down 1 cannon, but they get sandwiched between 2 forces, and 4 Hydralisks escape, which might be a good decision here. I wonder why they are not targeting the natural though. A little bit land army for Protoss is out, along with this third base. I wonder if Microwave will find that third base. 3 bases up and running for Microwave as well, and taking the middle base, which is a very bold decision since this base is notoriously hardly defended. I mean, it is hard to defend, not hardly defended, excuse me, so can be defended with great effort. And skirmishing is still going on. This Dark Templar doing a lot of damage because there's absolutely no detection for Microwave, and Microwave can't get an Overlord here because of these Corsairs, so this base is in peril. But this is surely a creep colony, and if Microwave can evolve a spore colony from it, then detection will be handled and this Dark Templar's reign will end, although it has made back its cost a lot of times at this point. And only 2 carriers out. The Hydra count is sufficient for the moment, and it seems that every interceptor that gets made is quickly shut down by these Hydras, but they are not quite focusing on the carriers themselves, so the carrier count can just increase and eventually overpower the Hydras. If the Hydras don't make any bold moves, but it seems that they are quite content with just shooting down these interceptors. And this can be a long standstill, and I'm guessing that is exactly what we will see here. So in the meantime, Corsairs are just scouting, and no more bases for Microwave. 4 bases is quite enough as it is, but Crazio has more workers and mining from 3 expansions. Natural main base is out for Crazio, main base is still mining for Microwave. Extra macro hatches getting flopped down, which is very nice. You got to keep up with that army production. It would be interesting to see the losses tab, but unfortunately we don't really have anything like that. But the production tab is very telling. Basically it's interceptors and dragoons versus an infinite number of Hydralisks, and the Hydralisk count is just growing and growing. Well, so do the carrier count, so it's anyone's game at this point. Natural is not very threatened at the moment for Microwave, and the land Protoss army is quite small, just a few dragoons. Although they are not getting focused, they just basically harass the army coming out of here. It seems that Microwave's army is pretty much can do one thing at a time, not having too many control groups. And that is to say in an abstract sense, because in the AI world, control groups, as in the sense humans players use it, it's not really a thing. You don't need to do that. You handle your units individually, or you have the opportunity to do so, and you don't need to click. So there are no grouping logic involved. You can make arbitrary groups, but that's entirely up to you. But regardless, it seems that Crazio's army is growing, and Microwave's army basically doing the same thing, shooting down all the interceptors that it can. And this can lead to the situation that Crazio is just runs out of minerals at some point, which is very likely to happen if this continues. Although Crazio is just setting up a new base, and still has these 2 bases mining along with the third, but these 2 bases are getting low, while Microwave is a little bit better off. Not much, mind you, so this is very much a standstill. Another base for Microwave, but it's completely undefended. I wonder if the Protoss army will find it and destroy it. The Hydras are slowly advancing towards the main base, and if they decide to attack it, I'm not sure what Crazio can do, because even though the Hydras are not shooting down the carriers, they are not getting damaged that much. I mean, the Hydra count is still growing. Every now and then a few Hydras get killed, but by large they are not bothered by this many carriers. Well, in this front, next to the natural of microwave, they are slaughtered in a little larger numbers, but the main Hydra force is just unstoppable. And as you can see, Crazio is very low on minerals and basically spending every last mineral on interceptors. At least, yes, that's reflected by the production tab as well, not making anything else than interceptors. Well, that is to say, Microwave is not making much other than Hydralisks and Scourge, but I don't really see Scourge doing anything useful. Let's, one Scourge just hit a carrier here, but generally we don't see much Scourge hits. And yeah, I don't know if that Scourge hit. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but usually they just get shot down early. And will this middle base get destroyed? It is a high chance for that, but the interceptor count I'm suspecting is low for these carriers. And generally speaking, 3 interceptors per carrier, now even less, is not that much. And most of those are in these carriers in the upper side, I'm suspecting, because they seem to be fuller than their counterparts, which has been kept in check by this Hydra army. Hydra count is a little bit dropped, that is to say, it's still 60 Hydras, which is quite a lot. And if Microwave just decides that okay, enough is enough, and marches into Crazio's base, then it will be the end of it. I wonder if he will do that. This hatchery gets shut down because it's out of the range of the sunken colonies, so it's not defended effectively, but this tug of war between Hydras and carriers is still going on. These bases are mined out for Crazio. Crazio has basically 1 mining base left, and Microwave has 3. Well, let's not count this small mineral patch, but this base is still happily mining, although Microwave has considerably less workers, so the income is not as high for Microwave as it could be. But that being said, the carriers are visibly less active now because the interceptor count is just not high. And finally, the Hydras just decided enough is enough. Now we just spit on everything you love and destroy your base. And this is exactly what they are doing. The carriers coming in, but yeah, as suspected, they can't do much, because without interceptors you are kind of useless. And without money to replace said interceptors, that will remain the state of affairs, sadly. And this Hydra behavior is quite interesting. They lose a lot of time just hunting down those interceptors. I wonder if they just rolled up the buildings quickly, this would be over much quicker. And let me speed this up a lot, because I think the outcome is clear at this point. It will just take a lot of time to reach that. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but this is 8 times speed. And yeah, the mining is shut down. Crazio has no more income, and the Hydras just back the carriers into a corner, which escape because they can fly, and Hydras notoriously don't. And yeah, that is the game. Thank you for the recommendation, and GG. Next up, it's Locutus versus Prism Cactus, and Locutus is still the #1 on the SSCAIT ladder. Let me just quickly show you. It's Locutus, Purple Wave, Crazio Protoss, Ironbot, Haupan, Teal Simurandon, Banana Brain, Macrave, Steamhammer, Purple Destiny, Microwave, Chris Cox, Chimera Bot, and the rest. So that being said, let's see what the top bot can do here. Excuse me for the not entirely full screen things. And Prism Cactus is a member of the Cactus family of bots, which there are 3 of, 1 for each race, and we had some good games from them in the past. Let's see if that will be the case right here and right now. I picked this game randomly. I wanted to cast a PvP match because why not, and an interesting probe chase scenario is out. It's, if I'm not very much mistaken, that is a Forge-Fast expand built from Prism Cactus, and in the meantime Locutus is not doing that much interesting things, just getting down the cybernetic score so the Goon Dead Ball can be on its way. And if it's one thing that Locutus is known for, it's Goon Micro. No one has been able to do that as well. So the Goon army is gathering, well, will gather eventually. One is in production, 2 zealots are guarding a ramp, and Prism Cactus is just cannoning up, so maybe he is very much afraid of Locutus. And let's see what the end result will be. It's a little bit of a quiet game, and 4th drone, now 5 probes. Not mining, just chasing Locutus's probe is, well, a good enough detriment in itself. And if that's 5 drones mining time lost, that's quite enough of a difference in the early game to win this for Locutus. And I'm suspecting this is exactly what will happen, because 5 dragoons are enough to roll down this natural here, quickly destroying the Nexus. And yeah, this is a quick game which is just lost by the chasing down of the scouting probe. So kids, a lesson for you, don't put too much effort into chasing down the scouting probe or worker, because this is exactly what will happen. You will lose mining time, income, and Locutus will climb into your room and just destroy all you love. And this is a short but very interesting game, I think. GG Locutus, and let's have the next one. Next up, it's Dragon versus Purple Wave, and Dragon is the Terran bot by TSCMO, while Purple Wave is a top bot which has won the last 2018 Student StarCraft AI tournament. It is a wonderful Protoss bot by the wonderful Dengant, and let's see what they will do. TSCMO is kind of known for its obscure and funny exploits, and I very much hope that we will see some of those. And scouting workers are out. Pretty standard openings. Let me speed that up just for that reason. And that is a quick early guess for Dragon, and this base getting scouted. And let's see if there is anything in production. Just one Marine shooting down this scouting probe, or at least zoning it out from further scouting, which I guess is good enough at this point. It is kind of hard to deny early scouting, but after a while you can do that. That was an interesting bout between this one poor SCV and the first Dragoon that got out from Purple Wave. And there is a tank already out, although without siege mode, which is not that effective, but still a force to be reckoned with. And now siege mode just arrived, and these Dragoons are in a bad spot, and they don't really engage exactly for that reason. Dragon's base is looking good, happily building the supply depots and building up the army. Natural is up for both players, and I wonder what the plan is. Dragoon count is rising. Other than that, not much is going on, to be honest. Natural base getting populated, a nice drone transfer, worker count is, well, not much different from both players. Dragon is a little bit better of keeping down his money. Purple Wave maybe is saving up for an expansion, I don't know. I don't see any expansion on the map, so guess not. These one tank, well, 2 tanks now can effectively defend this base, and these Dragoons are kind of hesitant to engage anyway, but surely 3 tanks will be enough. New goons are streaming in for Purple Wave every now and then, and I think we saw a little bit of healing from this medic. and I suspect that was because the Marines got out of the bunker, steamed, and got back in. Very nice microwave that just happened, and I'm suspecting, yes, it is. You can absolutely use steamed Marines inside bunkers, but the problem is, well, clicking on the steam button when they are inside, and I don't think you can even do that as with BWA API even, so you don't get to hack the system that way, but getting out of the bunker, steaming, and getting back in is a perfectly viable strategy. Maybe it's just not enough room for using the steam pack inside of the bunker. I mean, that's fair. So in the meantime, first carrier is out, quite quick carrier from Purple Wave, and it is probably the right choice because, well, now I'm doubting that, but the Terran army is not that big, and the majority of it is tanks, and tanks are notoriously incapable of fighting air. Although this multi-pronged approach by Dragon is very nice, a little bit more screening for the tanks would have been nice, but still it seems to have achieved some distractions. Third base is up for Purple Wave in this, well, not easily defended location, but no third for Dragon as of yet. But I would say Dragon is steadily pushing the front line and the map, and not really getting challenged at this point. Wraith is out. I don't know what's the goal here, because it's a very fragile unit, but maybe with that it can cause trouble for these carriers. And yes, the pushing of the front line is still going on, although the bio section of the army is very fragile and needs constant replacement. The Protoss is in a bit of a pickle, it seems to me, and Dragon does not keep his army together that much, and it seems that it's his advantage, because relatively few units are in one place at any given moment, but they are able to achieve a lot. I wonder how intentional is that. Although the critical mass of carriers seem to have, well, amassed, and yeah, 5 carriers with 27 interceptors pushing back the front line yet again. Wraiths are great anti-air units, but if you are going toe-to-toe with carriers, you should really use the stats, because they can shoot you down rather quickly, which we will just see in a moment. Well, no, because the Wraith just escaped and getting repaired. Yeah, the carrier count has reached critical mass and now pushing back, but this game is not over. And I wonder if we will see a tech switch, although no armory for Dragon, so we probably won't see any Goliaths soon. And the Bio army can fend off these carriers for a while, but the carriers are already at the gates, and Dragon is just zoned out, or rather zoned in, blocked in, and while Purple Wave is free to expand, as Purple Wave just does that. And the worker count is higher for Dragon, but only 2 mining bases, and the main is very low, and it just might be that Dragon runs out of money, while Purple Wave can sustain the offense much longer. Well, it is a great example of that StarCraft is just about having more stuff, and having more money is can be a deciding factor, as we saw in the earlier game versus Crazio versus Microwave as well. Frontline is shifting yet again, but I think it's more of the behavior of the carriers than the actual fighting power of Dragon's army, because at its core it's still a bio army, and it is fragile as such. A nice defensive matrix from Dragon, but the bio army is pushing back the carriers, and it is nice. Maybe you can do it. At this point it's anyone's game, as we used to say. And no expansion Dragon. I think you really need to expand at this point, because yeah, there is no income from the main, just 1 mineral patch left. And Purple Wave, yes, it's expanding, so even you can win this battle, but probably won't win the war this way, if there is no more resources to be mined. And yeah, this seems to me like an expansion. No, it's just long distance mining. Well, you got to do what you got to do. And long distance mining can work in a pitch, but it is not a long-term strategy, and especially not if you are mining in a dangerous area such as this. You need to build a base. Please, Dragon, build an expansion. And this base, even these patches are getting long distance mine. I don't understand this behavior from Dragon. It is very wonky, and frankly, I have no idea what inspired these SCVs to go to all the corners of the map to mine, but at last that's what they did. Although Dragon's army is still pushing, and Purple Wave is having much less supplies, so hey, if it works, it works, but you should really have some extra bases, Dragon. And your workers are in a very vulnerable position. Just a few skirmishing units can blast them down easily. So Purple Wave is not handling these threats very effectively, it seems. And well, with carriers, the trick is to have a critical mass in one place and in one time. So the spreading out of carriers and having a very low interceptor count is not what you want. Maybe you should just pull back a little, gather your forces, and then attack. And I would have said that that this is Purple Wave's game, but no, the long distance mining is just working for Dragon, who is using his units more cost effectively than Purple Wave. It seems to be the great trap of carriers. You have to have the money to constantly build new interceptors. Carriers are basically fueled by money, and if you don't have that, well, carriers are not a poor man's toy. So I'm not saying that Marines are, but it seems to be working for Dragon, who is interestingly always keeps at least 500 minerals in the bank, and I think that's some algorithm that saves up for an expansion and keeps it that way. But as we can see, Dragon is just not building any new command centers. I mean, at this point you can just float this over, for God's sake, and no, he is not doing that. Hey, this game is funny. And Purple Wave have exactly one worker left, which is very unfortunate because there is no safe space to mine for Purple Wave's workers anymore. And yeah, at this point I'm calling a GG, but let's have it play out. And carriers without interceptors are basically just very expensive sightseeing balloons, so you won't win any games with them. And this has been a very interesting game, and you can draw your own conclusions from it. GG, and great work, Dragon. Next time maybe build expansions, but who am I to say that, because you just won. GG! Let's have a TVZ game. I think we didn't had one, and this is Haupen, a successor of Ironbot, and Proxy, a strong macro Zerg. Let's see what they can do. And by characterizing Proxy as a macro Zerg, then it fits that I try to characterize Haupen as something. Maybe a refined Terran would be a great explanation, but it is hard to describe. It needs to be noted that Haupen constantly and steadily improves his bot, and actually the author's name is Haupen and the bot's name is technically Halo, but no one calls it that. I won't be as well because I forget things all the time, but Haupen is steadily improving, and we see better and better games from him. Dearbot authors take that as an example, and this is just a proxy barracks right here. Interesting opening. Let's see how it pans out. And no significant army, just a few Zerglings, and this expansion is, oh, this is a bunker rush. How very interesting. Zerglings attack, you don't have any chance versus a bunker. And as we can see, they shut down this natural expansion very quickly. I wonder if this will be a successful strategy in the long run. Bunker rush is hard to execute, but if done properly, it is very hard to defend against. Maybe plop down a sunken or two on the edges of your base, but clearly proxy is just not equipped to deal with this. It is funny to see that, and these drones try to come in and mine, but they are shut down unceremoniously. And how is only doing that, fully committed to the bunker rush strategy, and now is the question if he can continue or not. The Zergling count is not that high, but they can take these marines on the open field, I believe. And will they though? And more Zerglings are streaming in, but neither player have too many workers. Proxy has exactly 9 workers, which is not very much, and denied an expansion, while How is, well, he's stacking up, so in the long run, if this contain succeeds and Proxy is not recovering from its infinite Zergling making mode, then the victory should will belong to How Pan. And what will these factories make? I wonder. At this point it can be all in vultures, so vultures. And the bunker rush is not advancing, but it has effectively shut down anything that Proxy wants to do. Proxy finally woke up and tries to do something else. That is a Hydra. Then I fear it will be too late. And now the vultures come, and vultures can just kite and blast down all the Zerglings they want. So the Zergling wall will not be sufficient in the long run. Well, it wasn't really sufficient anyway, but as you can see, the vultures got free reign. They don't even get any hits, or barely get any hits, and they are cheap and fast. And wondering if, yeah, the vulture speed is researched. They get stuck every now and then in the marines, but the Zergling count is steadily decreasing, as you can see, because the Zerglings basically can't do anything. And the first Hydra is out, but one Hydra will not save the day here, not even 2 of them, although they do pick out vulture. And very nice play by Haupan. And these vultures just won the game, I believe, because there is nothing Proxy can do against them, just killing all the workers they want. And without workers you will surely fall. Great strategy and execution, and a valiant attempt and defending from Proxy. Maybe bunker rush is something you got to keep your eye on. Although the game is not technically over, I don't think it can end in but one way. A little bit chasing down, but there are no workers and no money to make new ones for Proxy, and the tanks has arrived. So at this point I'm speeding this up and calling the GG. Next up, it is ForceBot versus Banana Brain, a ZVP match, and let's see what the Gentlebots will do. And Banana Brain is also a very good Protoss bot, has been steadily in the upper part of the ladder, so I think this will be an interesting game, but I do not watch these games in advance. Oh, what was that? Let's just go back. These drones tried to pull some sneaky stuff, but they didn't. Let's see. Oh, they just came out of the line to shut down this cannon rush attempt. Or, I don't know, that is a proxy gateway, not a cannon rush, I'm sorry. And that's very well done by these drones, that is what you should do. And they just resume working on their base, and at this point Banana Brain is still slightly ahead, it seems, although has no gateways, and just remedying that mistake. Very nice proxy gateway defense by ForceBot. Let's slow this down. The first few Zerglings are out, but I think the point when they reach that base it will be too late. One defending zealot is out, 2 defending zealots, and they are blocking the ramp. So Banana Brain is safe for the time being. And what will Banana Brain produce? 3 zealots, not much else. two more and the Stargate. Maybe the strategy is Corsairs, and Forcebot does not have any kind of air defense at the moment, although a second hatchery is already on the way. No Hydrodan on Spore Colony. So if Banana Brains manages to get out some Corsairs quickly, then that will be surely very detrimental to the Zerg players' health. And these Zerglings are not doing that much because the Zealot count is too high, and frankly they are useless at this point. An expansion, a creep colony. I wonder if this will be Sunkens or Spores, or at least one Spore from Forcebot. No, not one Spore, just Sunkens. And I feel that yes, the first Corsair is already in production, so this will be an Overlord hunting session. And Zergling sneaks in, but not doing much, and still no anti-air of any kind for Forcebot. I feel Forcebot will get supply blocked very quickly. Oh yeah, the first Overlord is already getting peaked. Overlord does not have any kind of defenses versus that, and just getting Orc welded into arc welded, that is. Orc welding is something that orcs do presumably, but arc welded into Oblivion, and supply block is just a shot away. And these 2 or 3 Corsairs effectively will shut down the production of Forcebot, and still no anti-air or Hydrodan. And if you can't produce more units, then surely you will fall quickly. And how many Overlords still alive? Just one. Yeah, supply block has arrived. And although all Overlords are getting produced, in the meantime Banana Brain is just freely tacking up and making its army. At this point Banana Brain just can just run over and kill everything, and instead of that Banana Brain chooses to be a little bit more sneaky and tries to achieve something with Dark Templars, which is fine if you have no Overlords, but Forcebot is stubbornly remaking them, and that is not something you should do in this situation. Although I don't really know what you should do in this situation, because this seems already lost to me. These Corsairs effectively shut down anything and everything that Forcebot can do, and while Forcebot is remaking the Overlords, the Corsairs are patrolling and shutting down everything. You need a Hydrodan or a Spore Colony, ASCP, and third base for Banana Brain. At this point I don't know why Banana Brain is not marching into the enemy base. He has more than enough army, he scouted everything, so taking its sweet time to advance, but finally the Zealot and Templar army are on the warpath, and this is just a matter of time. Sorry, and let me speed this up. Oh, the first 2 Hydras are out, but it is too little too late, although they are pretty fine versus undefended Templars, but we have 23 Zealots, which is more than enough to roll up on this just one base. Meanwhile, Banana Brain expanded into the upper left corner as well, but that surely does not make much difference. And dear Zerg players, watch out for Corsairs. They can ruin your day very quickly, and if you are supply blocked for most of the game, your enemy will and can take its sweet time to just bulldozer you into Oblivion. GG, and let's jump into the next game. Our next game is MacRave versus Hannes Bradberg, and Hannes Bradberg is a bot known for its use of nukes, although those uses are not always very successful or effective, and MacRave is known for its funny and wonky unit micros that can happen, like storming from the high ground, but nevertheless MacRave is still an effective and strong Protoss bot. It's just it's prone to making stupid mistakes, but that's not fair because bot development is hard and stupid mistakes happen all the time. and we are grateful for each and every bot author that takes his or her sweet time to develop bots for our entertainment. So don't take this as me trash talking Macrave or any other bot. It's just entertainment. With that, let's jump back into the game. Pretty standard openings and symmetric score for Macrave. Maybe it will be just a dragoon play and a quick expand from Hannes Bradberg. And at this stage of the game, only 2 Marines are out on the map, and they are just chasing down the scouting probe, which scouted all it wanted at this point, I think. And the second barracks is up, and what will Hannes Bradberg do until the nukes arrive, if they ever? And first dragoon is out. This is just the skirmish phase. Nothing gets decided at this point. I believe both players are gathering armies, probing the other, no pun intended, although maybe a little. So yeah, natural getting taken by Macrave, not long after Hannes Bradberg's natural is taken. And this one dragoon dies, but 2 Marines give their lives for that. And this back and forth is pretty standard. And in the natural, no mining as of yet, and the Marines are pushing back Macrave's forces, but Macrave has the home turf advantage, and Hannes Bradberg just can't keep up this for long. But he still denied mining on the natural for quite a while, so that is something to be proud of, or at least it's an achievement. And what is the next building that Hannes Bradberg is making? Just another barracks. No factories or science facilities, which delays the aforementioned nuking a bit. And Macrave is a little bit less under pressure. Dragoons are out, and nice dragoon micro, and at this point goons are outranging the Terran units, I mean the Marines, which is a considerable advantage, although the Academy is surely researching that. Yes, the Terran Marine range is researched. I wonder why they are not firing from the high ground. This barracks is not long for this world, and maybe they just got stuck. That is a very high possibility. First Dark Templar is out, getting scanned and killed eventually. First 2 Dark Templars rather, but they are still streaming in, and they have permanent invisibility, while scans need energy. So if the comset station's energy is depleted, you're gonna have to have a bad time. But even without Dark Templars, oh yeah, effectively one-shot any Marine. Even without Dark Templars, Macrave's army is just bigger at this point, and effectively denied any mining in the natural. I wonder if Hannes will came back from this, but likely not. First Templar has arrived. I wonder if there is Psionic Storm already. Oh yes, it is being researched, and at this point it seems to be the GG in Macrave's favor. Macrave's already expanding to third base, scouting everything else, and yeah, let me just speed this up. And valiant attempt, but ultimately the Goomball cannot be defeated. GG! We haven't had a Steamhammer game in a while, and as I mentioned before, Steamhammer is daddy, granddaddy, ancestor, or some other predecessor of many bots, because Steamhammer source is well, open source, and a lot of bots are modeled after Steamhammer, and with slight modification to the code base, they are on the ladder. Well, that's not fair, slight or big modifications alike, but Steamhammer is a good bot to start your own bot development on. And J. Scott, the author of Steamhammer, has a blog about that. You can read it at satirist.org/StarCraft or blog. I don't know, but if you just search for J. Scott StarCraft blog, you will surely find it. And as owner of a StarCraft AI blog myself, I certainly approve of his endeavors. My blog is at www.makingcomputerdothings.com, but you might have guessed that if you watched the broadcast this far. And without further ado, let's see what these gentlebots will do. Steamhammer just got a few links out very early. Fifu Legend is, well, not defending. There is two zealots not doing anything at all, which is weird. And is this, no, this can be a cannon because we don't have a forge. This will be a very one-sided game if that continues, although the zealots do defend the mineral line. Maybe that's the plan all along, and just pull the sneaky on the Zergling army. But the Zerglings are not doing as much damage as they could have. Well, now they can't because the zealot army is on the march. I wonder why they didn't do that earlier. Maybe because Fifu Legend just has a set build order and not deviating from that, and with that set build order priorities are in place, such as guard the mirror line at all costs. But all of the endeavors of Fifu Legend are scouted by this one overlord just chilling out here, and Fifu Legend does not have any kind of anti-air, while Steamhammer just got its second base, which is surely an advantage. And although Fifu Legend has more workers, 3 Hydras are also out, and they are a little bit effective, more effective in combined with Zerglings, as you can see here. And yeah, this Zealot Micro might need some polishing up, I believe, because they are very great target practice for these Hydras, but not doing much else. Zealot boys are coming back from the war, and maybe we'll shut down this Hydralisk incursion, although they should do that as soon as possible because the base is under threat. And this is a very weird behavior. Well, not that weird, it's pretty easily explainable. I think probably all the zealots are assigned to one group, and that group can just do one thing at a time, and that one thing is attacking something in the other side of the map, and not taking the other factors into account, such as your base being under siege. And such as this, Fifu Legend was just running his zealots over and getting blasted down in the process. But at last the Protoss army is on the march and Steamhammer is on the defensive, although I don't feel Steamhammer is threatened by this size army, but the Zerg incursion is beaten back and Fifu Legend can finally build up his forces a little bit more. And the skirmishing phase has begun a little. I think that's lurker eggs. Well, they can't really be anything else. And since Fifu Legend does not have any kind of detection, this will be surely a costly endeavor. And yeah, if you don't have detection, you should at least stay out of the range of the lurkers. But the first observer is out, but not observing the observable things. So yeah, Fifu Legend seems to be an unpolished bot to me, and some behaviors are just not there yet. You are losing a lot of units to stupid mistakes like that, like staying in lurker range and not attacking or defending according to the situation. Again, not trash talking any of the bots. Bot development is hard and time consuming, and we are very glad to see these games, but still allow me some constructive criticism right here, right now. And losing against a bot like Steamhammer, which is an established and long-standing bot and forked a lot of times quite deservedly, so it's not a shame. And well, anyway, it is just a game. So thank you for your valiant attempt, Fifu Legend, and GG Steamhammer. Last game for today, it's Believer versus Simplicity. Simplicity is a relatively new Zerg bot updated to the latest version of BW API, which is 4.4. If you are not that technically well versed, it means absolutely nothing to you, but basically these bots communicate with the game through an interface, and it has the latest version of that, which has a lot of advantages, and we always urge bot authors to upgrade to the latest version as well. It's also using BW API, which is the Java version or one of the Java versions of this API. And with that being said, let's actually watch this game, because I'm suspecting most people watching these games are not developers or not really curious about that part. And we also do have a more technically inclined podcast called The Undermined, if you are very interested in that topic or knowing more about that. And this is a shameless plug because I'm hosting that podcast as well on my side. So now really let's have the game, and let's see what these bots are doing. No natural expansion for Believer, only for Simplicity, and the first few Zerglings are out. We see the usual numbers, 2 Zealots versus 6 Zerglings, and pretty standard scouting probe yet again, and not getting caught by Zerglings. This is pretty standard. The scouting worker is rarely caught if you don't have any ranged units and you don't have anything that fast in the early stages of the game. And that's not really a good idea, Mr. Zealot or Mr. Pair of Zealots, and chasing the scouting probe, who is still clutching the 1 mineral he mined previously. In the meantime, Cymatic score is done for Believer. Simplicity is not attacking up that much, just building defenses and expanding quickly. And as a Zerg, that can pay off. And let's see if it will. But maybe you should have some kind of unit besides Zerglings, because as we saw previously, Corsair can ruin your D very quickly, and just as I said that Corsair is already out, and no anti-air for you, Mr. Simplicity. Oh no. First Overlord getting arc welded here, and as we learned, that is very detrimental to your health, and I don't see any reaction to that, to be honest. And will you do something, Mr. Simplicity? It does not look like it. No Spore Colony or Hydralisk Stand, or although this gas extractor is might be built for the purpose of getting enough gas for a hydraulic stand, and yes, exactly, that was one of the goals, I presume. And hydraulics will eventually get out and ruin this Corsair's day, but not until a lot of overlords die, and that is a monetary and supply disadvantage as well. Meanwhile, a quite sizable force of zealots are out, 14 to be exact, and while they are, I'm not sure they can break down this defense, they can do a lot of damage, and the Corsair threat is somewhat repelled, but now we have a new one, which is this river shuttle combo, which is hard to defend against, especially with land units only, and these hydras are not taking it very seriously, although they should, because basically one shot one kill for the river, or one shot multiple kills, and although scarabs cost money, it is a cost-effective way to ruining your day. That rhymed, that was unintentional. So, and there now the hydras are out and spitting down this shuttle. I think this shuttle does not have the speed upgrade just yet, and yeah, it's not that damaged either. Let's see, in the meantime, Corsairs are patrolling the map. Overlords are gathering in this one spot where they have some kind of coverage by this Hydralisks, and no further expansion from Believer. Believer hasn't been updated for years, unfortunately. I would like to see some updates, but I think the author of the river just taking a break or a permanent one on bot development. Simplicity is a little bit more frequently updated. And as you can see, an old dog can still bite, because I would say that simplicity is very much in trouble. The zealots are depopulating the third base, destroying it entirely in a short while, and these reavers are absolutely doing damage. They outrange the sunken colonies, I believe, but even if they are not, they just killing 4 or more zerglings in one shot, and that is just not sustainable. And sometimes hydralisks, oh, that's a good river shot. And even though the shuttle is getting destroyed and the river in a short while after that, as you can see, it is too little too late, and maybe some Scourge or other air units could have been more beneficial. Nice storming from the Templars, although storm dodging is implemented, you still get a little damage. And simplicity maybe expanded a little bit early, or maybe just didn't prioritize air defense and, well, river dog defense that much. And to be fair, that is a hard thing to defend against. Thank you very much for watching this broadcast, and see you next week with Nepeta's awesome casts, and I'm calling the GG. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Thank you for watching this week's broadcast. My name is Shonko, and I have a site called makingcomputerdothings.com, where I blog about bot development and have a podcast about the same topic. Check it out if you're interested. Thanks again, and goodbye.